honesty, passion, experience. It's Timberwolves Explosion, hosted on the sportstuff.com and also brought to you by the Oddman Media Network. Here are your hosts, Paladino Joey and Marcus the Forecaster. Hello again, Timberwolves fans. Are you ready for the explosion of Timberwolves basketball? I'm your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Timberwolves Explosion is available on the sportstuff.com and on iTunes. I thank each and every single one of you always for downloading and listening to this show. It's also available on Stitcher and Double Twist. Stitcher, of course, is for any device pretty much out there, and Double Twist is Android. iTunes is Apple. We're back. Well, there were moral victories, close games, and all that. One really yucky game in the middle. We got 5 games to review. I'm going to try to do the best I can to piece them together without taking too long. Sometimes I just go on, and I got to be careful about that, even though I'm sure it's information that needs to be said at times. At least most Timberwolves fans hopefully agree with that, but you get the idea. We don't want to drag this out too far. And then we preview 3 games before the All-Star break. We'll have a show next week, and we'll probably take a break the week after because the All-Star break, it's kind of, we won't have a game until Friday, February 19th, after Wednesday, February the 10th, so you get the idea. With that said, let's just get moving. Regular show, reviews in segment 1, previews segment 2, fan interaction segment 3, bombs away. Wednesday, January the 27th, Minnesota hosts the Oklahoma City Thunder, the OKC, or whatever people like to call it. And they do not win the game. 126-123. An awesome basketball game to watch. But the one thing that's really the final piece right now, literally, for this franchise to start turning the corner and winning some games is, being able to finish. Yep, and it's obviously not trying to be sarcastic, not trying to be funny in some way. It's just they need to be able to finish. And that's a huge struggle that takes place during the course of this week, except for the final game of the 5. Finally, you get some clutch ability, and also something very wonderful occurred during the course of this week. Even though in a game that you'd call extremely disappointing, something very wonderful took place late and during that game. Very wonderful. A lot of you know what it is, but at the same time, I'll elaborate. You'll get my elaboration on it from me personally, the host of Timberwolves Explosion, the most veteran podcast for the Minnesota Timberwolves on the planet. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It is the most veteran podcast on the planet. I've been around the longest, doggone it. Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook. They played well. Russell Westbrook, again, just playing like a point guard, playing clutch. Very good game by Russell Westbrook. Just incredible. I had ripped the crap out of this guy for so long. Kind of like what kind of like what I do about the Northern California team, but because I hate the gestures and the cockiness and all that. I hate all that crap. So, how do you think that's old school? Well, then I'm old school. Great, let's deal with it. But he doesn't do that anymore. And he doesn't shoot his team out of games, at least not as much as he used to. 7 of 13 from the floor, still managed to get 24 points, and he also got 15 assists in the game. Just unbelievable performance. Enes Kanter, Timberwolves killer, strikes again. Karl Anthony Towns-like statistics here when Karl's having a good game. And obviously that's not trying to be sarcastic. It's just that, Karl's a rookie. He's not going to have these numbers every night. 23-10 in the game, 2 blocks, 23 and 10 for Enes Kanter, 10 of 16 from the floor. The Thunder shot incredibly the entire game. They made half of their three-pointers. My God. Their three-point attempts were as good as Kevin Durant's overall field goal percentage, 10 of 20 from the game. Poor perimeter defense, same old story. You get the idea, but excellent passing from Russell Westbrook during the course of the game. Kevin Durant, multifaceted, outstanding, 9-rebound performance, 27 points. Again, 50% shooting from the floor. Strong game by this team. The Wolves just can't finish games like this, and it's so devastating, so painful. I had a feeling this was going to be a good game for Wiggins, and it was solid, but just limited field goal attempts. I don't know, and it was frustrating. But the guy that really made things extremely interesting in the second half of this game, and really early even, he started off really strong and then just went ape bleep in that fourth quarter, got the Wolves rolling. And the fact is, the Wolves had to make a comeback at the same time, and of course, Zach LaVine was a huge part of bringing the Wolves in the game, keeping the Wolves in the game, per se, in that third and fourth quarter. Just went ape bleep. It's just that the Wolves can't seem to finish late in games. That's all I'm trying to say. Not trying to erase a positive here, and an incredible positive by another guy who also was a part of that wonderful thing that took place later on in the week. Zach LaVine, yeah, he couldn't miss. And he was shooting spot-up threes. Yes, spot-up threes. 5 of 8 from the floor, spot-up threes. I rest my case. Are they high percentage shots, or am I just full of crap here? Am I just coming behind this microphone and just spewing venom and talking shit? There we go. Pardon my language, but because I try to keep this a family show, but just talking BS. No idea what I'm talking about. I'm just not educated enough, right? Oh yeah, I'm not educated enough. Well, take a look in the mirror if you don't think. Catch and shoot from 3. Yes, it's simple. It's fundamental. But what's lacking in the NBA today from a lot of the young guys and some of the older guys? Fundamentals. What made Tim Duncan so great? Fundamentals. Why is Tim Duncan still good at 39 years of age? Gee, could it be fundamentals? Nah. Well, Zach LaVine played intelligent basketball, and he shot the ball like a freaking pimp, man. There, to bring things a little more modern. Yeah, NBA Jam, baby. He's on fire. Zach LaVine was NBA Jam out there. 14 to 17 from the floor. 35 points, career high. Just awesome game by Zach LaVine. And there was a lot of catch and shoot in this one. Yes, he was driving to the basket, athleticism, dunks. Nothing wrong with it. I never want to see the slashing go away until he's in his mid-30s. Maybe you might want to cut down on that and just stick to the spot-up threes. But when you can do both, hell yeah, man. Zach LaVine, just a beautiful game for him. And only 29 minutes, 29 and a half. But great game, Zach LaVine. And I swear, man, these guys, somebody somewhere listens to Timberwolves Explosion. That's not trying to brag or anything, but, this show's been around almost 8 years, man. So you think a single player one day, just out of the blue, for the hell of it, didn't look up maybe a Timberwolves podcast, let's see what some clown has to say about it. Do you think that hasn't happened once or twice? It's not like they're acknowledging me or anything. No, it's not like I'm getting posted and retweeted out there, except I'm getting liked by by Rudej, but that's more of a simple thing. We'll get to that into the fan interaction because Rudej is a fan. No, I'm a fan of his. Wiggins, kind of a quiet game, but Zach LaVine, just the man. Awesome. Gorgie Zhang was fantastic in the game as well. Karl Anthony Towns. It was Karl Anthony Towns, baby. Nice. Another double-double, 19-13, if you get the idea. 5 assists in the game. Kind of a Garnett-ish type of game when he was in his young days. 2020, like 325-ish. Nice game by Karl Anthony Towns. The Wolves played great in this game. Kept things going. It's just the ability to finish is what's slowing this team down in the win column. And some of the rotations and certain guys getting playing time that shouldn't. Bielitsa, you think he hasn't listened to Timberwolves Explosion after I tore him to shreds last episode? 23 minutes, 11 points, 3 of 5 from the floor. Made all 5 of his free throws. He even got 3 rebounds this time instead of 2. Hey, there you go. See, he even increased in his rebounding total. And yeah, I made a critical error on the last show talking about why is Bielitsa in the game? Couldn't you put Adrian Payne in? Well, yeah, Adrian Payne was kicking butt over in the NBDL at the time, so... Yeah, and that's another reason why Mr. Nemanja Bielitsa was out there playing more frequently. But, yeah, just the ability to finish. That's the thing. You get the idea. Just scorching the net. He's on fire. NBA Jam Central for Mr. Zach LaVine. Friday, January the 29th, we head to Utah, one of the most beautiful states in the country. Just the mountains, the clean air, everything. Oh, Salt Lake. It's just... How can you not like the mountain area, man? The mountain time zone. How can you not like it? If you don't like it, something's wrong with you, seriously. But the Wolves didn't like this one very much. They really sucked in this game. Is it okay to say that? Am I being a jerk? They scored 38 points in the second half. Really, man? That's just piss poor, man. Third quarter, Wile E. Coyote wall. It happened. The Wolves had a minor Wile E. Coyote wall against the Oklahoma City Thunder in that fourth quarter. But they hit a wall in that third quarter against Utah, and they've been known to do that in the third quarter many times. Fourth quarter, sometimes. I think the third is the ultimate Coyote wall performance. Most of you know what that means. Yeah. I'm not going to explain it again. Check back on the earlier episode where it says Wile E. Coyote wall, and you'll hear all about it, because that was kind of the center of that show. This one is that wonderful thing. I'm going to keep teasing to it. But then again, it's the title of the episode. So, yeah, well... Maybe you just didn't look at the title. Utah 103-90. This is the least wonderful game of the week. This is the stinker of the week. You know, I almost thought I have the feature presentation and the stinker of the week. You'd think that Oklahoma City game was the feature presentation, but no, it wasn't. Oh no. This is the stinker, 103-90. What more is there to say about this one other than Karl Anthony Towns kicked major ass, and so did Gorgie. I mean, Gorgie and Karl are just freaking awesome. They've just been unbelievable during the course of this week, at least in the early stages. Unbelievable. Andrew Wiggins, yeah. Okay, this is one of the games where it's like, come on, Sam, take him out of there. I mean, did he even, get off the plane, or what? I don't understand. Was he high? 35, almost 36 minutes in the game, 2 of 11 from the floor, 5 points. He didn't even make both of his free throws, 50%, 1 of 2. Ooh, 50%. But the stat of the game for Andrew Wiggins, 2 steals, but other than that, he didn't even get a single rebound. Bloody hell. Rubbish. Yeah, bloody hell, man. Bloody hell, mate. Rubbish. Utter rubbish. Utter rubbish, yeah. You get the idea. Wow, and this is the first of 2 just horse bleep games by Andrew. And I'm as big a fan of Andrew Wiggins as there is in this town. Karl Anthony Towns is a fantastic, unbelievable player, and some nights he's the only guy, and he really was. 32 and 12 in this game, and that's about all I have to say, other than Zach had another really damn good game. He brought the same fire with him in this one, and he always plays well against Utah, like I predicted. 9 of 12 from the floor, 75%, 19 points. Didn't attempt a single 3, though. You might want to shoot some of those a little bit. I mean, the Wolves only 2 of 10 from three-point range. You know, they didn't even shoot that poorly. They just didn't get shots off. That's the problem. They didn't get enough shots off during the course of the game. I mean, that 24-shot clock was having a field day with the Wolves in this one. And Utah just did what they do. Gobert, the other guy, almost got the MVP of the Rising Stars game last year. 14 and 12 in the game. Got a little bit of revenge, ultimately. Rodney Hood is developing into a really nice player. Also, by the way, he's kind of like he's like a miniature version of Andrew Wiggins for those Utah Jazz. A very miniature version, like a good role player version of him. 22-point game overall for him. Even Gordon Hayward didn't play that well. It's not even that he didn't play well; he just wasn't aggressive at all. And the Jazz still just rolled over this club. Extremely frustrating. Not a whole lot to say about this game other than Wiggins was freaking awful. And then Towns and Gorgie and Levine did a really nice job out there. And that's all I'm going to say for now. Let's just keep moving for the sake of time. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on the ugliest game of the week. Sunday, January the 31st, the Wolves try to wrap up the first month of 2016. It's already gone on a positive note, and they didn't. They played well in the game, but they didn't finish the game. They hit what looked like a wily wall in the second, but they broke through, baby. They actually broke through and had an awesome third quarter. They were actually leading after 3 quarters, feeling really good about themselves, and Portland just finished the job. Unfortunately, the Wolves didn't get it done. Damian Lillard, of course, leading the way, 21 points for the Portland Trail Blazers. Why in God's name is he not on the All-Star team? Other than there's like 900 good guards, I guess, in the Western Conference, including the Northern Cal guy, son of a biscuit. I refuse to say the name or the team right now. I'm just tired of them, so don't want to give them any more notoriety. They get enough, trust me. Solid team effort for the Wolves in this one, but poor shooting, I'd have to say. And one guy shot like horse bleep in the game. 3 of 18 from the floor. From Andrew Wiggins. He just got to the free throw line, though. I mean, good job there. And he ended up being a plus 11 in the game, if you can believe that. 3 of 18 shooting from Andrew Wiggins. We're talking like, I don't know what the hell's going on here. He made like 4 shots, and he made 5 shots out of like 29. 5 of 29 in that 2-game stretch. That is freaking atrocious. Yet still managed to fill the numbers a little bit. 9 rebounds from your shooting guard. Not bad from Andrew Wiggins. And 15 points. 0-4 from 3-point range. An absolute stinker for Andrew Wiggins. Yet again, still managed to get 15 points because he was aggressive enough to get to the line. If you're not making your shots, slash, Andrew, slash. Yeah, pull out that ninja sword and do some slashing, okay? That's what you got to do. That's what I always did even. And, it's just kind of a common sense thing. If you have the ability to attack the basket do it. If you're not shooting well in the game, just continue to slash. Though he was missing some close range stuff too. Just a mess of a game from Andrew Wiggins. 3 of 18, unbelievable. Karl Towns again, another one, 21 and 13, made half of his shots. 9 of 18 from the floor. Karl Towns looked like he was absolutely, positively on his way to the Lone Wolf Award, and he still is a strong candidate for it. Even Gorgie Zheng. You'd think it was Towns and Zheng during the course of this one. Zheng shot 50%, but he didn't shoot enough. Only 8 attempts, 13 points, and 10 rebounds in the game. Another double-double, but Towns adding 3 blocks in the game. Just a force down low, plug in the middle. Outstanding game for him. Shabazz Muhammad disappeared in this one. Didn't score a single point in about 13 minutes. Andre Miller returning to the floor. He always seems to get to play against his former teams, but seems like he has a million former teams. That's the thing. He was good in this game, but it seems like he always has a turnover at the stupidest time. What the hell's up with this guy? 4 turnovers in the game, and it helped cost the Wolves the game ultimately. It kind of kept Portland moving in the right direction. Miller only had 1 assist in the game, but his field goal percentage is unbelievable. I mean, he made all 3 of his shots again in this game. He's leading the team in field goal percentage, even though he probably doesn't have enough attempts. But you get the idea. It's just hilarious. The guy makes every shot he takes. It's kind of funny. Bielitsa, 12 minutes of meh again. Pekovic, this is maybe the... I don't know, man. I mean, this may be the last hurrah for him. Only 6 minutes and 25 seconds in the game, and it looks like he's kind of on his way to the I don't know what you call it, the old post box in the sky right now. At least his career could be heading that direction. As for him personally, I hope he lives 99 to 100 years, but as for his career, I don't think it's going to extend past the season. And I predicted it in the summer, then I started to change my tune a little bit, thinking, you can keep him as a backup center. And when he starts and plays limited minutes, a la Kevin Garnett, wow, Karl Anthony Towns just takes off and gets 15, 17 rebound type games out there. And he's just flying everywhere, and he's hoisting up threes, which he made 1 of 2 in the game, by the way, against Portland. Karl Anthony Towns adding a little 3-point shot, along with his almost perfect looking mid-range shot, a la David Robinson, to go along with his quick slashing to the basket at times. But you saw even more of a David Robinson out of Towns when Pekovic is out there, because he was quicker, because Robinson was a pretty quick guy. But maybe you're not going to be seeing a whole lot of Pekovic in the Wolves uniform much longer, and it's kind of sad. It's really sad. Maybe this was his last game. Who knows? Really frustrated with the finish of this one, even though the Wolves played well. And yeah, I usually get I don't know. I usually get a little backlash when I say it was an upsetting finish. The finish was upsetting. Okay, not the game in general. There's a lot of positives on this team. There's no doubt about it. Wiggins, though, field goal percentage made me sick. Just made me want to vomit. And, of course, 30 minutes out of Tayshaun Prince. Does anybody want to see that anymore? I mean, does anybody? Seriously, anyone? Hands up? I don't see any hands raised. Even though there's no one staring at me right now, but I don't think any of your hands are raised. I just don't think so. The Portland game, the defense was significantly better. That was nice. They got Portland to shoot less, basically. But the Wolves just could not finish the job. Here's the game again. The whole freaking season, it's the same story. It's just this time it finally bit the Wolves in the ass. And a certain guy did something in this one. Tuesday, February the 2nd. Oh, goody, Groundhog Day, and a nice, beautiful snowfall that came down. And those of you hating on the snow right now, be quiet. It's February. It was February 2nd. It's February whatever it is now, 6th. Be quiet. It's winter. I like winter a lot, and if you like, how can you not like winter if you're an NBA fan, by the way? It means it's NBA season if it's winter time. Now, come on. And we can finally stop talking about football, damn it. I love football, but damn it, I like when we can focus on basketball and even some hockey, too. But Kobe Bryant, 38 points in the game. 38 points in the game. Andrew Wiggins, 30 points. A little bit of mirror imaging going on here by Kobe and Andrew Wiggins. Little winking and smiling going on between the two. Wink, wink, hint, hint. Yeah. Andrew Wiggins, fadeaway shot, turnaround fadeaway shot, looked a little bit like somebody. And that same guy said, that looks familiar. And it was a smile and a wink. And it was a beautiful shot. And Andrew Wiggins, after shooting like a Like, I don't even want to say a word. Just like garbage out there. 15 assist game by Rubio, by the way. But I don't know where I'm going here, man. But Wiggins was freaking awesome in the game, 30 points. And he looked like a certain guy. But that certain guy named Kobe Bryant just started hitting every shot. He got in a rhythm. 7 of 11 from the floor and made several free throws late to keep the Lakers ahead and ultimately win the game. 38-point performance by Kobe Bryant, and it was a season high for Kobe Bryant. His previous season high was 31, and it just miraculously Kobe goes off like he used to against the Wolves for just like forever, like 2 decades. Yeah, only 2 decades, that's all. At least the better part of 2 decades. His rookie year, well, he made some athletic dunks, and that was about it. He didn't do a whole lot in his rookie year, but you get the idea. It was the old rhythm shot that he has. You know, he's just got in the motion and nailed his shots, and there's nothing you can do about it. And regardless how good the defense was, Kobe was making everything. Again, 7 of 11 from three-point range. Unfreaking believable. And I can't say the perimeter defense was all that good in this game, but it was kind of like a what can you do type of thing. Kobe didn't have to slash to the basket. Every time he attempted to, it didn't get very far. But when his shot was on, it was on. And he did a hell of a job down the stretch, and he buried the Wolves in that fourth quarter with those three-point shots. Even though the Wolves did what they could to come back and try to win the game, the Lakers were kicking the Wolves' butts, particularly in their second quarter. It was a major Wile E. Coyote wall, and Kobe didn't have a whole lot to do with it. He was doing okay, but it was overall just a team effort for the Lakers, and the Wolves were just sucking for the longest time. Second half was so much fun to watch, and Andrew Wiggins continued to show signs of what he's going to be in this league, regardless of how most of you think he's not the best player on the team long term. You know, you can have that opinion, and it's totally fine. I mean, Karl Anthony Towns, if he's David Robinson, he's going to be pretty freaking awesome. And that's who I do think he's going to be. But what if you have David Robinson and Kobe together? What would that team look like? Would they win a lot of games, you think? Andrew Wiggins is starting to look like Kobe out there a little bit. A little bit. Okay, a little bit. He's showing some signs of it. And Kobe Bryant did something wonderful in the game. We'll get to that. Zach LaVine, 50% again, just torching the net all week. Didn't shoot particularly great against Portland, but he still managed to get 14 points, and he did it again, and he helped the Wolves make a nice comeback in this one. Rubio was outstanding on the passing with 15 assists again. Just a very fun game overall. Getting completing passes to several guys. Mohamed, LaVine on the break, Wiggins on the break. Gorgie Zhang and Tayshaun Prince on his usual long 2-point shots, which he made a few of, so good for him. Fun game to watch, but an annoying finish. Just, come on. Can't you beat the Lakers? But I suppose it's like, oh, Kobe, one more time. Go for 81. No, don't. Let's not give Kobe 81, but he almost did 40. And Kobe Bryant gave Andrew Wiggins his blessing in this game. And he wants to help Kobe Bryant, or he wants to help coach Andrew Wiggins and Zach LaVine in the summertime. And isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? It's a wonderful, wonderful thing, ultimately, when you talk about the future of this franchise. And the thought that Kobe Bryant sees a lot of familiarity in Andrew Wiggins to himself. That's a good sign. That's a very, very good sign. The consistency is continuing to come. Kobe Bryant, in his second season, averaged 15 points a game. Yes, he was coming out of high school, so it's a one-year differential. In his third year, Kobe averaged 22 points a game. Andrew's averaging about 21. So, And, yeah, Shaquille O'Neal was on that team, though. Wiggins is not at Kobe's level at this stage, but he could be at some point. He could approach it. He could be maybe a slightly lower version of it. Andrew Wiggins is going to make many, many, many All-Star games. Karl Anthony Towns, this is probably the last year you're going to not see Towns on the All-Star roster, in my humble opinion. I mean, he's going to be fantastic, just like I think his counterpart David Robinson, another first overall pick. Robinson went in right away, but that's because he was late from the Navy. You get the idea. Towns, only a freshman, would only be a sophomore in college right now, only a freshman last year. Same with Wiggins. Ultimately, he'd be a junior at this stage. And he's already averaging almost 21 points a game in this league, and with pretty decent teammates here that also need the block to be successful. Rudez didn't make either one of his 3-point shots that he took, but he still was okay in the game. You know, made a couple of shots in the 2-point range during the course of the game. I still like him more than Bielitsa. He's a better shooter than him, Bielitsa. But fun, entertaining battle between Kobe and Wiggins. He had the post-up shots and a lot of similarity. You get the idea. Roy Hibbert he's just done. Wow. Whew. Unwatchable. Pathetic. D'Angelo Russell, Vince Germano, you got yourself a nice player, man. You really do. Not sure how good he's going to be yet. It's kind of hard to tell with the way things are going there. How he comes up the bench mostly. He seems to always play well against us, though, doesn't he? It's probably he's just, you should have taken me number 1 overall. But, well, you're Karl Anthony Towns, man. Come on, you got to take Towns. And the Wolves did the right thing, in my opinion. We'll just have to see where things go, though, ultimately. A disappointing finish, but a wonderful, fun sight to see Kobe and Wiggins interacting over and over again. Kind of reminded me of Jordan and Kobe in the All-Star game in 1998. It was a lot of fun to watch. The interaction between the two, and Jordan, the encouragement, passing on his blessing to Kobe Bryant. Could Kobe possibly, just possibly, at the end of his career now, be passing on his blessing to Andrew Wiggins? It appears to be heading in that direction, and that is very, very cool. It appears to be exactly what's going on right now, and that's really cool. Will that mean he's going to be? Will that mean Wiggins is going to rise as high as as guys like that? I hope so. I truly hope so. A loss is a loss, though. But the Wolves stay in the same building, back-to-back nights, but in the same building, Staples Center. They just have the Clippers coming from a different locker room, one with red, white, and blue coming out of there. The sailboats are coming to the court Wednesday, February the 3rd, after we've shoveled our snow. At least most of us in this town had shoveled our snow at this point. And the Wolves shoveled some snow away. They shoveled some of that Laker frustration after Kobe had that blizzard on the Wolves. They shoveled that away. It was a new day. The court was now red instead of whatever it is, purple and gold. And the Wolves won the game. Yeah, the Wolves won the game. 108, 102. Yeah, there was a questionable call late in the game where Chris Paul just did a minor argument, clapping his hands at the referee a little bit. He didn't really clap his hands at the referee. He's just like, come on, like that. And he got a technical foul, and that kind of helped ice the game late, which is pretty funny. It kind of helped things go the way they did. But it was just one play, so we can kind of not tarnish the game too much. Rudez, spot-up shots, made all of his shots. Two three-pointers and another bucket down the stretch. Gotta like the old catch and shoot, don't you? Andrew Wiggins, yeah, we'll get to him in a second. Zach LaVine, another 17-point performance. Made half of his threes again. He's a different player right now. I mean, catch and shoot, common sense, fundamental basketball, continuing to really help this team. Karl Anthony Towns, it's basically a fundamental for him right now in getting a double-double. I mean, just another strong performance. 7 of 16. Not as pretty a game for Karl, but he was going against DeAndre Jordan, for Pete's sake. He got blocked a couple times. Kind of frustrating. DeAndre Jordan, he drives me nuts. 3 blocks in the game, and they were at key times. Drove me nuts. Pissed me off. I was cursing at the television. Thought the Wolves were going to lose this one, but they didn't, and it was beautiful. Andrew Wiggins carrying the torch that Kobe Bryant handed to him. It's not an official torch. It's a torch elect, basically. He's getting elected by Kobe Bryant right now, but it's unofficial yet. It's like getting, I don't know, in like a Final Fantasy adventure. You got the rusty sword. It's a matter of will that sword accept you, and will it become the mana sword? You know, that's what Wiggins has right now. He's being tested right now with the rusty sword, basically. But it is secretly the mana sword. Will he achieve it? Well, he looked like he's on his way in this one. He was fantastic again, carrying that rusty sword, and had another 31-point effort. 61 points in 2 games for Andrew Wiggins, a far cry from the garbage he gave us in the middle of the week, that 5-point effort against Utah, and the construction work. He should have been wearing a hard hat against the Portland Trailblazers in that game. I mean, you make a couple more of those, we win that game. It's unbelievable how poor of a performance it was for Andrew in the Portland game. But a completely different guy. He shows up when he goes against the best players, and he shows up when he's on national television, as this game was. It was on ESPN for the whole world to see. We were on the showcase, the West Coast version of it, the second game of the ESPN Wednesday showcase, and Andrew Wiggins showed up for that game. That's a good sign. we'd like to see more consistency, but at least he shows up against the big opponents and when the lights are bright. That's a great sign because I think the consistency will continue to come as he matures and develops and he fills out physically. Because I'm sure he gets tired, obviously, like we all do. He's not used to the grind of the NBA yet. He's getting there. I mean, he's close to it enough. He's physically, cardiovascularly used to it, but you get the idea. He needs to get bigger, needs to get stronger, and it becomes more of a routine rather than a grind for Andrew Wiggins. That's what's taking place at this stage. It's getting better, though. It's getting better, thank God. Andrew Wiggins carried this team down the stretch. It was beautiful, and the Wolves end up winning the game. Rubio making some free throws late due to some unintelligent play by the Clippers at times. Rubio making key free throws, carrying the team down the stretch. Hacka DeAndre was in play, and the commissioner's trying to crack down on this, apparently, during the summer. We'll see what happens there, but Hacka DeAndre was hacking the Wolves as well. Oh, just 18 point, 15 rebound, 3 block game. The guy's got too much energy. He drives me nuts. I hate him. I hate playing against him. He drives me nuts, and he sure is cocky, boy. Woo! For those of you that don't like Draymond Green on the Northern California team over there, DeAndre Jordan's very similar on the Southern California team called the Clippers. The other team I hate, the Clippers. Oh, man. He is a son of a gun, but luckily the Wolves finally survive it. The longest winning streak against a single team in the NBA, the Clippers of all teams, with a 14-game win streak against the Wolves, snapped. It's over. The Wolves finally get a win. It was disgusting seeing Mamute hit a corner three down the stretch, but, whatever. We'll give him that. The Wolves end up winning the game. Austin Rivers was ejected from the game, and he's kind of a, he's kind of a punk. It seems like he's always getting in some kind of scuffle with somebody, yelling at people, he even got in a fight with Kevin Garnett last year. Like, what the hell, man? Come on. He played on your dad's team when they won a championship. What the hell's up with you, man? Austin Rivers, nothing but trouble, and he's on his dad's team right now. It's kind of funny. I can't imagine that Doc Rivers was all too impressed with it, though. Can't imagine. Not really. Chris Paul did not have his best game. He was clanging some threes down the stretch. The Clippers could not hit the three-pointer when they needed to. It bit them in the ass. 32 attempts, only 11 made. 34%. That's not the worst ever, but their field goal percentage late in the game really cost them. They were missing a lot of open threes. The Wolves were giving the Clippers a chance to win the game, but they didn't. Thank God. The Wolves walk out of this one with a victory. Very fun indeed, and nice to see Andrew Wiggins carrying that Kobe Bryant torch into, right back into Staples Center the following night, and a victory. The Wolves end their personal losing streak against the Clippers and end their overall losing streak. In this one, a very positive finish. So let's wrap things up here. Kind of a long one, but fun. I'm out of breath right now, aren't I? Woo! That's a long segment, isn't it? Woo! Woo! Long segment. By the way, Andre Miller played against another former team and was really good during the stretch of this one. Again, a couple of turnovers and always a key times. Drives you crazy. He actually missed a shot in the game, which is kind of funny. 7 assists, though. Really liked what Andre Miller brought to the Wolves in this game as well. I had to mention that before I exited the reviews here and started going to the awards section here. Ultimately, I'm going to give the Lone Wolf Award to the guy that's holding the torch, even though it probably should go to Karl Anthony Towns. He's going to get a gold-plated Lone Wolf Award. Well, Karl Towns, but ultimately the Lone Wolf Award is going to go to Andrew Wiggins, because the way he took that charge and showed up in the big moments. Ultimately, a consistency Lone Wolf Award is going to go to Karl, though. Consistently awesome throughout the week, strong performances. It's just that Wiggins showed brightest, showed up at the biggest time. Ultimately, when the lights were brightest. Beautiful performances by Andrew Wiggins in that 2-night stretch in Staples Center. The Johnny Flynn Memorial, the disappointment of the week. Well, who should it go to? I don't know. Muhammad kind of disappeared during the course of this week. I'm going to give it to Muhammad. He just kind of disappeared during the course of the week, ultimately. Or should I give it to Kevin Garnett for coming out and supporting Sam Mitchell the way he did? It's like, come on, man. And do we really have to keep Sam Mitchell around long term? And do we really have to believe that we're all buying in? And it was at the worst time, too, when the team was really playing like garbage. It's like, what's the last thing we want to hear right now is we're all behind Sam Mitchell. So I might kind of semi-give it to Garnett for that. Hopefully he's able to come back and play again, but don't be surprised if Kevin Garnett and Nikola Pekovic, are in their final seasons in the NBA. And Garnett can move on into the ownership with Steve Kaplan, who is currently part of the Memphis Grizzlies organization. He'll be a part of the Wolves organization by the end of this month or March at the latest. Ultimately, will Garnett be joining that group? Most likely. Most likely. I don't have any clear-cut sources on that, but most likely he will be. I mean, come on. He wants to buy this team. Kevin Garnett wants to be a part of the Timberwolves, and we'll see what happens. I think Steve Kaplan is going to be the lead investor. Garnett will be one of the big spokesmouths for the Timberwolves. Spokesmouths. That's about it. But, I got to give it to Muhammad and Garnett. Kind of both light versions of the Johnny Flynn Memorial, ultimately, in this one. And you could almost give it to Wiggins, too, for those awful performances. And he was absolutely going to get it until he showed up the way he did against Kobe and also against the Clippers the following night. That's it. We better end this segment before I ramble on some more. We'll come back to preview a couple games, 3 games, right after this. Now, I know what you're thinking. Did this clown just compare Andrew Wiggins to Kobe Bryant? No, I did not. But who's to say Andrew Wiggins can't take the baton from Kobe Bryant and go from there? And we are back here on Timberwolves Explosion. That's right, time for some previews here on segment number 2. Well, only 3 games to preview this time around before the All-Star break, and they're all at home. 3-game homestand for the Wolves. The bad news is, none of these teams particularly match up well. Pardon me for that. Sorry about that. Match up particularly well for the Wolves, at least for the most part. Wolves had a decent game earlier in the season, though. Now, first Saturday, February the 6th is where we're starting. Target Center, of course. Chicago Bulls come to town. The Wolves defeated the Chicago Bulls early in the season when we were on that wonderful road quest. We had the best road record in the NBA, along with the Golden State Warriors. Remember that? Oh, I just said it. I said their name. The Northern California team. Chicago Bulls. Well, Paul Gasol at this moment has a sore hand. Does that mean he's going to play? He probably will. Sounds like Mike Dunleavy's finally going to be back after back surgery. September the 25th. Mike Dunleavy, not really a huge, gigantic, not a huge difference maker necessarily, but yeah, watch him scorch the net for a couple threes. Recently, Mirotic had appendicitis. What the hell, man? What a rough situation. Butler has a sprained left knee. Jimmy Butler. So what the hell? Jeez, what's going on here? But he'll probably be okay, I'm guessing, hopefully. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Scary injury just last night, or a couple of days ago, with Jimmy Butler being rolled on the floor in a chair after the hard fall. We'll see what happens right now. We'll see what happens. We'll see if he's able to play against the Timberwolves. It just happened, unfortunately, sprained left knee for Mr. Jimmy Butler. Paul Gasol, I'm guessing he's going to play. He's going to have to. Joakim Noah's out until hell freezes over, so that's not good with a separated left shoulder. That sucks. The Wolves should win this game. Out of these 3, I think the Wolves should win this game. Take advantage of the situation. I feel bad for the Bulls. This is just a couple too many injuries. And if Jimmy Butler doesn't play, you gotta win the game. If Butler does play, well, then the Bulls will probably win, I think. Sadly. Butler he's a fantastic player, man. He's the best player on the Bulls. And, Wiggins, I'm sure, has matured a bit since his original meeting against Butler. He's learned a bit since then. That's the good news. Butler just tore him apart. I still remember early in Andrew's rookie year. I do think I do think this is a winnable game for the Timberwolves. I think this is a team we can beat. For whatever reason, for the longest time, the matchup was terrible with Chicago. Now it seems to be turning a bit. And with all these injuries, you might as well take advantage of it. Just please put a body on Mike Dunleavy. Don't let him scorch the net. Because just watch something like that, silly like that happen. That would drive me nuts. Pau Gasol, obviously always a threat, but Karl Anthony Towns should be able to at least minimum hold his own against Mr. Pau Gasol, even though he's been fantastic. A fantastic resurgence for Mr. Gasol in Chicago. I'm going to predict a Wolves victory. I think they continue to ride this. I think Andrew Wiggins will have another big one. He's going to have a 25-ish point game, and Karl Anthony Towns is going to have another double-double. Not a tough prediction there in that sense, but I do think Andrew Wiggins will get in the 25-ish range. Ricky Rubio will get double-digit assists in the game. What's a key guy in this one? Will Zach LaVine have another big one? Will he scorch the net? Will he be on fire? Or will it be Shabazz Muhammad? It's kind of between those two. It's kind of a hit and miss between those two. Gorgui Dieng is another guy who it's like the Dieng Muhammad LaVine carousel. It's kind of like that. And lately it's been LaVine. But then again, all week last week it seemed like Gorgui showed up. And I think this is a Gorgui Dieng game. When I look at the Bulls, I'm going to go with Gorgui Dieng and Andrew Wiggins. I think they will be the main keys in this one. I can see Gorgui really showing up out of the carousel. Towns and Wiggins are what they are. They're the main guys on the club, but Gorgui, I think, in the carousel is going to be the main guy in this one. Minnesota is going to win the game 97-94. Very close game, lower scoring. Andrew Wiggins will have 25-ish, maybe more, but we'll go with 25 right now. Gorgui is going to have an 18-ish point game. He's going to have a double-double along with Karl Anthony Towns. We'll have another double-double. We'll see where things go. I think Towns will be a little quieter, but watch him get 30. But I see this being one of those 14 and 10-ish games for Towns, and I think Gorgie's going to be like 18, 11, and 3 blocks. That type of game from Gorgui. I can see it happening. Just my opinion. It's just fun. We're predicting, but the Wolves win 97-94. Now the New Orleans Pelicans come to town, put the lemon in the tomato juice because to enjoy the southern hospitality of the New Orleans Hornets, even though they're coming here, but you get the idea. Every time I think of New Orleans, I think of that good food, man, and I all that southern stuff. The Pelicans are coming to town. They smoked the Wolves like I predicted, even though the Wolves were playing very well January the 19th against that club, playing very well. And then the Wiley Wall took place, and it was a wall made out of 9 tons of concrete. I mean, just unbelievable crash for the Wolves in that one. 114-99. It was even worse than the score indicated. Can the Wolves win this one? It's like they should. I mean, they should, but we don't match up well with this team. I don't know. We don't match up well with this frickin' team. Well, Eric Gordon, for the 99 trillionth time, is unavailable because now he has a fractured right finger. And it took place in that game, which is kind of funny. Oh, Eric Gordon, man. The guy can't stay healthy for anything. But he's not the key for the New Orleans Pelicans. Tyreek Evans was pretty damn good in that game, too. But obviously, Mr. Anthony Davis. A lot of people compare him to Karl Anthony Towns. I continue to say Towns is more like Robinson, but there is definite similarities. He's the modern-day comparison to Karl Anthony Towns. The old-school comparison is David Bleepin Robinson, doggone it, as we like to go with former players along with current players. Tyreek Evans, sore right knee. We'll see what happens with that one. But I'm going to pick the Pelicans to win this one. Until the Wolves prove they can compete against this team for whatever frickin' reason. Just some teams have your number, and this team has the Wolves' number. The athleticism of Anthony Davis continues to plague this team. The physicality of Amir Asik is just, it's painful. Drew Holiday and Norris Cole always scorch the net against this club, especially Drew Holiday. He's always going to go off for 20, even if he's not having a good year for whatever reason. They're using him as the backup behind Norris Cole right now in New Orleans. Not sure what the deal is with that. I think Drew Holiday's a potential all-star point guard. I mean, I'm a big fan of the guy. I think those guys are the keys right there. It's definitely those three. And watch Dante Cunningham go off again. Just like Mr. Stinking Tolliver the other night, hitting 5 threes against the Wolves. That was on New Year's Eve, a little while ago now. Wednesday, February the 10th, and then off to All-Star break we go. The Toronto Raptors come to town. This is a loss. The Wolves never beat the Raptors. They just never beat them. Terrible matchup, and the Raptors are fantastic right now. Terrible matchup for the Wolves, and Toronto is really kicking some ass right now. Time to advance past the first round, Dwayne Casey. Come on. This team has got to advance past the first round this year. Stop screwing around, man. Come on, man. Get this team to the second round, Dwayne Casey. This is a first-place team. Man, I'm going crazy. Over there in the Eastern Conference. First-place team, no excuses. Toronto Raptors need to continue. And I think they'll beat the Wolves again. Very strong team. Kyle Lowry, the starting point guard for the Eastern Conference, much to a lot of people's chagrin over there. Yeah, I mean, people are confused with that one. Why isn't Kyrie Irving starting at point guard for that team? I don't know. But Kyle Lowry has been fantastic. DeMar DeRozan, an awesome guard, a dream guard. A lot of times I bet you the Wolves wish they took him if they didn't take the Northern Cal guy. Leave that alone. I'm sick of talking about it. A very deep, very strong Toronto Raptors team. They even have Biyombo as the backup center. Ooh, to come in and block some shots. They got Ross over there coming off the bench. Corey Joseph coming off the bench against Kyle Lowry. But they're shooting, their guards are really carrying that club, and they're doing a fantastic job. The Eastern Conference is a guards conference. The West is more of a Karl Anthony Towns conference, and then with occasional super guards, of course, we know who they are. And another one who could be super in Andrew Wiggins. Yeah. This is a bad matchup for the Wolves. It always has been. Kyle Lowry always beats the Wolves up. He always beats up Ricky Rubio and whoever else is playing point guard. I think the Raptors win this one fairly easily, unfortunately. 99-88. Raptors defeat the Timberwolves with their strong defense and their clutch shooting, their outside shot and such. DeMar DeRozan just always a pain in the ass for the Wolves. And I think the Raptors get the job done 99-88 with their very talented team that just flat out wins games right now. And the Wolves go 1-3 in this one. They beat the team that some people would think is the best team, but not. It's Toronto's the best team. It's just Chicago right now is the best matchup for the Wolves. The Wolves, again, never beat the Pelicans, never beat the Raptors, but they can beat the Bulls, and they proved it earlier this season. I think the Wolves sweep the season series against the Chicago Bulls. How about that? Why not? 16 wins for the Wolves. They will have eclipsed last season's total. Congratulations in that sense. And we go from there. Let's get to the number 20 sooner rather than later. I see at least one win in the next week, but maybe just one. Yeah, it's not that easy. We'll see. We'll leave that alone. The next week, the next 2 weeks, it'll be because we head into the All-Star break. Let's stop and let's come back for some fan interaction. We're even going to hear from Marcus, the forecaster, to lead things off. Be back right after this. All right, we're back here on Timberwolves Explosion, segment number 3, fan interaction segment. Going to give a quick shout out to Ryan Newman of the Wolves Nation / NBA Talk out there on Facebook. Give him a like. Give that page a like. Would be great. And those of you out there that are already on, you can invite some more people to it. You get the idea. But please do also sign up or like Timberwolves Explosion on Facebook. To get to the Facebook page, type in Timberwolves Explosion, Minnesota Timberwolves Show. Or actually, nowadays you can type in, facebook.com / Timberwolves Explosion. That's basically what you type in. It's kind of long, but you get the idea. Facebook.com / Timberwolves Explosion. You'll find it right away. And you'll be able to just simply go there and click like and interact with the show. You get the idea. You can also call into the phone line, 209-736-7877, 209-736-7877. Hey, those of you locally out there, or just anywhere in the U.S., call that number and interact with me. Those of you from Wolves Nation out there, call in. Why not? There's lots of you out there that listen. There's some of you out there anyway that listen to the show. A good number of you that listen. Call in. I don't. Just have a quick conversation. You can rib me. You can agree, disagree, whatever it is. I'm not going to bash you. I'm not going to edit out anything unless you cuss real bad or something. Other than that, I'm going to give you the floor and let you talk. Just keep it to about a minute, maybe 2 maximum. Tanae Brown didn't send a audio submission this week, but maybe busy or such. But anytime, always welcome. The audio submissions out there for those of you not in the U.S. Maybe you might have a hard time calling that number and all that. You can send an audio submission with your smartphone. Every smartphone out there has a voice recorder. Apple, Android, Windows phones, BlackBerry, whatever it is. Everything has a voice recorder out there, or they're free apps if there isn't one right there. Maybe you like a certain free app more. Just record about a minute or so. It counts as a call-in, and then just email it to paladinolive@yahoo.com, paladinolive@yahoo.com. All right, let's get going. And others out there that can text me too. Marcus, the forecaster, still officially the co-host of Timberwolves Explosion. Missed him a lot. He's been just kind of the old ball and chain and all that. He had a kid not that long ago, and he's been kind of tied down and such. I'll probably get him on one of these days again, but it'll probably never be like a regular thing again. But the text, though, he could probably text anytime, and he's always welcome out there. So I was talking about we need Jeff Van Gundy for president of basketball operations for the Minnesota Timberwolves, and Jeff Van Gundy is the guy I want for this team. I think that he's the perfect replacement for Flip Saunders. You know, I mean, you don't want to talk about replacing a guy who died, but you get the idea. But you understand the team needs a leader right now. The leader is not Glenn Taylor. The leader is not Sam Mitchell. I think Milt Newton deserves a chance to stay on this team in the same role that he had under Flip Saunders. I would like to keep him here as general manager and maybe promote him to vice president of basketball operations, if such. I think he's good. I like Milt Newton. As for Sam Mitchell, I think he's a nice assistant coach, but I highly doubt he would stay on as an assistant. But you never know. You never know. This is a weird world. You never know. But I was making my huge push about Jeff Van Gundy. That's my guy. If I'm the owner of the Timberwolves today, I'm talking to Jeff Van Gundy and see what he'd like to do. I prefer him to be just the president and not the coach, even though I think he's a very good coach. I think he was a better coach than Flip Saunders, actually. As for president of basketball operations, right now Flip Saunders is better. We don't know how good Jeff is, but I think he's more than capable of being a very good president of basketball operations. Watching the game from the perch he was at, Flip Saunders improved dramatically at being an analyzer of talent, being where he was at the time. Not that he wasn't good before, but I think it helped being at that ESPN perch, and I think Jeff Van Gundy would be fantastic as well. Okay, on to what Marcus said now that I've burnt it out way too much. He says, something needs to be done quick. Other teams are dropping people, so pretty soon all the decent replacements will be taken. Yeah, very true. People are getting fired all over the place. Coaches as well. Bouncing all over the place. Me and Marcus were talking about David Blatt. Now we move on. I was also continuing with Marcus. I was saying I think Jeff Van Gundy's the best guy to replace Flip as president of basketball operations. Marcus saying, unfortunately, I think the plan is to tank this season. Hopefully we can trade Ricky for Snyder, but it's actually Schroeder of the Atlanta Hawks. He's like the backup behind Jeff Teague. Yeah, I like Schroeder as well. Schroeder. I'm getting him mixed up with with Jordan Schroeder on the Minnesota Wild. He says, I'd also like to get Noah. He has KG's intensity and Peck needs to retire next season. Noah, well, yeah, he's out now, obviously, but maybe we can get him as a free agent. We will have cap space, and the talk is Harrison Barnes is a guy the Wolves are going to be targeting in the offseason. They're talking about throwing $20 million at Harrison Barnes, though? No. Where does Harrison Barnes... what about Harrison Barnes tells you he's worth $22 million a year right now? No? Maybe 10, 12... Come on, man. I don't know. But then again, we know where the NBA is headed right now. They're signing people to insane contracts. And then here we go, the big one. And this was before the Kobe game. So take note of this comment that Marcus is about to say. It's a longie, but it's a goodie. This was when he was playing like trash, Wiggins was. Marcus says Wiggins won't enter the dunk contest because he lost in high school? What a bleeping, and he said the word, bleeping disappointment. This is what he said. Me? Nah, I lost. I'm done doing it again. Maybe one day, but right now I lost in high school and thought I should have won. So I'm just Marcus says, amazing. That speaks so much about what kind of player he is. No wonder he looks so uninterested in the game. He's already checked out. It's like, well, we aren't going to win a championship this season, so what's the point? Ooh, zing. Whoa, hey. Damn. I don't think Wiggins is that bad. Some nights it looks like that. But it's interesting, though. It seems like he needs to be under the bright lights to play good. I guess it's better than wilting under the bright lights like so many others. I thought Garnett wilted under the bright lights quite often, actually. Pardon my language there. I keep bumping this thing. Pardon my language. Oh, yeah. I'm going to check that out there. But, yeah. Well, yeah, it is what it is. I talked about it just now. On to the Facebook page. Randy Santana saying, sorry for the controversial language, Joey. Okay, how about this? New leadership for next season. New GM, Jeff Van Gundy. our new president of basketball operations. You get the idea. New coach, Tom Thibodeau. I hear Van Gundy's commentary during games, and he is brilliant. Thibodeau is a hardline defensive animal and won't tolerate soft defense. Thoughts? That's the perfect dream scenario, my friend. You want to talk about the dream team? That's the dream team of Coach GM, in my opinion. Coach, president of basketball operations, all that. Not sure if that's realistic because the finances and the Wolves are one of the teams that's really struggling financially in this league. But I got to think the finances are improving when you got 2 number 1 picks, franchise player type guys. So maybe. Can those guys work together? It sounds like they have a nice relationship, so maybe. And if they did, that would be the best scenario in the world. The only fear is Tom Thibodeau overworks his players a bit, and that's what the ongoing rant you heard in Chicago. One other quick note I better say right now before I forget, and it's going to make the show a teeny bit longer just because, but Darren Doogie Wolfson, who was the one that was talking about Harrison Barnes and everything, and the Wolves are very interested in him, and the guys in the front office really want Harrison Barnes of the Warriors, the Northern Cal team. But another thing, though, he mentioned is there is a current coach right now in the NBA that, well, not NBA necessarily, NBA or college, that is exactly who the Wolves are targeting and will be the coach next season. Very possible scenario. He's not guaranteeing anything, but he thinks that's the guy. I'm beginning to wonder, could it be, even though he's under a huge contract right now, could it be Fred Hoiberg? I'm just wondering, could it be him, actually? Because the Wolves have always liked Fred Hoiberg. So could it be him? Could there still be a possibility? Maybe the Bulls aren't as happy with Fred Hoiberg as people thought. Who knows? That's just me throwing a little tidbit out there. Just a tiny little nugget. Could it be Fred Hoiberg? Could that be the guy? Or could it be Calipari? Nah. It's not going to be Calipari. No way. We're not going to throw that much money at a guy who didn't do anything with the Nets years ago. So it won't be him. I was wondering that for about 1 second, and then I'm like, nah. And then I posted on Facebook, but I'll save it for Twitter, about Damon Urides. I'll save that for a minute. I just posted that on there. Let's look at the visitor posts, that being the Hank McCoys of the world, that son of a gun. Wednesday, July. Damn, where am I? Oh, come on. Where is it? Okay. Hank there. Sebastian Balls. Thank you, brother. He says, Joey Awayan is the best Timberwolves podcast in the whole state of Minnesota. He ain't a homer and knows what he's talking about. A boot. Because it's funny how it's like misspelled. I don't know. It's just typing too fast. That's okay. Sebastian can spell. I know. I just type it too fast. He makes following the Wolves worth it, even though they don't perform. He does. Thank you very much, Sebastian. You're the best. You are the best, brother. Thank you. And you know what? I agree. Damn it, I agree. It looks like Tanae does as well. Don't know why there weren't like 100 likes on that, but you get the idea. Joseph Phillips out of Australia says, got to say, and Sebastian's in Mankato at this stage, unless he moved again. He is just like Lou Nanny. You never know where he is. Lou Nanny over there, talking hockey. Yeah, I'd love to have him on Brave the Wild sometime, eh? Joe Phillips saying, got to say, I am proud of the team in the last couple of games. No, I mean, no, we haven't won the games, but it was fought. Good signs. Yep, it was fought well. Yep, good signs. I think he might have had a little voice text issues there. Yeah, that's a thing. When we voice text, it gets funky sometimes, so I get so mad at voice text sometimes. I'm a Vince Germano out of Melbourne, Australia. Victoria saying, mate, I totally agree that Levine is the true shooting guard. I heard a commentator say that Levine still thinks he can play the point. I think the next coach needs to knock that on the head. Levine plays way better up the ball, and that first stab, wowee. Yes, it is unbelievable, along with the catch and shoot. The catch and shoot, spot up threes, and then Marcus saying, yes, sir. Yeah, oh, I love you, Vince. Yeah, he says, yes, sir. That's the old thing I would say when I was working with Marcus the forecaster. He'd suddenly go silent, and I'd be like, yes, sir. It's like Marcus had just he'd be on a thought, and he'd go, and then all of a sudden he'd get real quiet, maybe because he's still contemplating about the next thing, because Marcus is the Yoda. He's the Yoda. I'm the Luke Skywalker. And then Vince saying, now Levine drops 35 at 20 years of age. I think sometimes you forget how young these guys are. I mean, much like Wiggins, his body's still developing and will only get stronger. Future is bright. I know we all want success now, but I truly believe it's coming. And yeah, that's the frustrating thing about the Wolves. We're extremely impatient. I mean, it's been like rebuilding, that BS under David Kahn. we've been rebuilding for like 12 years. And yeah, it's frustrating. And you want it now. You want it now. You want it now. But yeah, they're 20. And it's like, oh. And then they're 20 again. Just like Randy Foye. They were 23 and they're redeveloping. That was the annoying thing. That was like 10 years ago, man. Randy Foye. Jeez, Jiminy Christmas, man. That's a long time. I better watch my language, man. This show is going to get an E-label if I keep this up. I've been cursing like a madman here. And not even meaning to. It's just coming out. Joe Phillips saying, shame. Definition. Number 1, to be caught urinating in public. Whoa! 2, to watch your team being schooled by the Lakers. Oh, zing! I love it. Copyright Courtside Podcast. Vince Germano and Hank McCoy, Courtside Podcast, and just awesome contributors to this show. I approve of that show big time. It is Timberwolves Explosion approved, and Timberwolves Explosion apparently is Courtside approved. Just God bless you guys. 2 of the best basketball podcasts on the planet, I think, are this one and Courtside. And the crossover podcast on thesportstuff.com as well. But, boy, Courtside, my lord. What was I saying? I was kind of having fun, truly embarrassing, unacceptable. So glad Garnett approves of Sam Mitchell. We're really cooking with gas. Joseph Phillips saying, has to be hard for him, though, to do it publicly. Maybe he would have during the flip era when he had a chance to be part owner. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's tough. Joseph was saying Lakers versus Wolves, throws the remote at the TV, picks up the broken TV, and throws it at the remote. Yep. Ooh. Nice comeback, though. Ultimately, that was when things were really bad in that second quarter. Vince saying, Kobe must listen to your show. The minute you say he isn't what he once was, he comes out and drops 38 on you guys. Look at you. Look at you. Zing. Joseph Phillips saying, beating CP3 and the Clippers. Nice. Yep. Because it's funny how he just turned around and beat that team. And it was a lot of fun. Vince saying, really good win for you blokes today. Wiggins with another 30. It's wins like these that get you excited about the future. It's like a glimpse of what's to come. And here we go. Oh, here we go. The zinger himself, Mr. Hank McCoy, the alpha dog of the Hall & Oates over there. Well, you know, me and Marcus are the Hall & Oates. They're, I don't know what you'd call that duo there, Hank McCoy and Vince Germano. Oh, Sherlock Holmes and John Watson. Because Hank McCoy's on that case, and Vince is right there with them, and they are solving some of the toughest cases in the NBA. They are covering that league like Lewis and Clark. Maybe they're the Lewis and Clark of podcasting, if you know what I mean. They cover everything, baby. Lewis and Clark, there you go. Oh, you son of a biscuit. Marcus Smart, you're welcome. And yes, Marcus Smart set up the play. He's the unsung hero of the Boston Celtics, doing the little things that make a huge difference, setting a huge pick on Mr. Mozgov, pushing him out of the way, helping the Celtics retain possession of the basketball, setting up the three-pointer from Isaiah Thomas to Avery Bradley, the all-star Isaiah Thomas of the Boston Celtics, and a deserving all-star, so says Isaiah Thomas, and Timberwolves Explosion. Timberwolves Explosion host Paladino Joey approves of Isaiah Thomas as an Eastern Conference all-star, and I applaud him, and I'm extremely impressed with the Boston Celtics. Very good job by the Boston Celtics. My. Brad Stevens easily has got to be, I mean, he has done just a phenomenal job over there in Boston. I mean, ever since he got there, all of a sudden they're a playoff team again. Yeah, it was an ugly team that barely made the playoffs, and they ran into the Cleveland Cavaliers, and boy, they sure screwed up that team, didn't they? Kelly Olynyk, you SOB. For all you Kevin Love haters, I'm sure you like Kelly Olynyk right now, don't you? But, man, that Brad Stevens has just done a phenomenal job, and I hope they continue to progress over there with the Boston Celtics. Just great job. Unbelievable. Over to the Twitter account to wrap up this episode of Timberwolves Explosion. And then I'll have a closing statement as well, I got to say. At Wolves Explosion is how you get there, and I thank you so much, Vince and Tanae, for retweeting this show for the last episode. You guys do that a lot, and I thank you so very much. Please keep doing it. It only helps this show. Thank you. God bless you. And those of you out there as well on Twitter, maybe you're local, maybe you're abroad, please retweet the show or like it or something. Tell your friends, all that. It really, really helps. It's just, thank you so much. Tanae Brown tweeting me. It's at Tanae Wilson Brown, Tahnae Wilson, bro, all one word. Give him a follow if you could. He may be a co-host in this show on occasion as well. He is a massive contributor to the show, along with Vinrock at VINROK44. Vince Germano. God bless you. And he's also co-host on the Courtside podcast and the Showtime and T-Wolves show which I'm also a co-host of Showtime and T-Wolves show. That is, he says, seeing this lineup makes me wonder: would you rather Zach or Shabazz starting? This one is Dang, Towns, Wiggins, Rubio, Muhammad. It kind of depends on the matchup, I suppose. A larger team will go with Muhammad. The smaller team will go with Zach. They're kind of interchangeable as well. Against the Lakers, we're going to go with Zach. Against a team like Phoenix Suns, we're going to go with Shabazz. Shabazz always plays well against the Suns. It's just a natural matchup. I think the Portland Trailblazers, Shabazz to beat, it's kind of a matchup problem for Portland because they have a small backcourt, that type of thing. Let's beat up on the Blazers. Let's go with Shabazz starting. I think he's more likely to perform against that team, but you get the idea. Against Utah, you got to have Zach in there. He always plays well against Utah. He always plays well against the LA Lakers. Teams like that. I think you can kind of interchange it and such, even though it might drive them absolutely nuts. Today, continuing on a new one, saying, of course, Baz isn't playing well. After I say that, yep. And he was a weak version of the award, so to speak, the Johnny Flynn Memorial. Vince and JB Hoops fan were liking a comment I made about 94-91, and the fourth is just starting. Amazing game so far. That was against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Just a score fest. Unbelievable game. A lot of fun to watch, just unfortunately not the finish you would like. And then I was tweeting out absolutely embarrassing, unacceptable, and that got liked by a few people over there. Thank you very much. I was cursing a little bit. And then it's not Damien, it's Damian Rudej liked my tweet to him saying, I love your ability with the spot up threes. You're valuable, and I'm glad you're on our team. And I am glad, Rudej. I say that with full sincerity. Rudej, not Rudez. Rudej. I like him a lot. I like him more than Bielitsa right now, and I like his spot up threes, and I think he is a valuable guy for the Wolves. Ooh, Timberwolves Australia. Timberwolves Aus followed me. Timberwolves AU. Thank you very much. Hopefully you're a listener. That's a good sign. Timberwolves fans in Australia. That's just a tweeter that followed me just the other day here. Cool. Hope you're a listener. And if you are, tweet me. Please. Tweet me and acknowledge. Maybe we could interact some more on there. Thank you very much. Nice to meet you. And all that good stuff. Closing statement on this one. Marcus, a bit harsh on Wiggins there. Frustration. But there are signs from Mr. Wiggins. We know what Karl Anthony Towns can do, and he's going to continue to develop. And I really think he's a David Robinson, may even be a better version of David Robinson. We'll have to wait and see where things go. But what an amazing week it ended up being. What a fun moment it was. Tuesday night, on a snowy Tuesday night, late in the evening, in Staples Center, to see Wiggins and Kobe go at it back and forth. Shades of that 98 All-Star game. And when the Bulls would go into Staples Center, or the Lakers are coming to Chicago, and such. It was more when the Bulls went to Staples, though. It just seemed to be different when it was that way. It was the Forum still. Pardon me, the Great Western Forum still at the time. Yeah, the Staples Center didn't start till 2000ish. And boy, that building had a lot of winning at that time, didn't it? Whew. But to see Kobe and Wiggins interact the way they did, it was a wonderful, wonderful thing. And now, to see Kobe's blessing get passed on to Andrew Wiggins, it was truly a remarkable feeling, a wonderful feeling as a Timberwolves fan, to know that our guy, Andrew Wiggins, now has Kobe Bryant's blessing. And he will also carry it on to Zach LaVine as well. But ultimately, you could see Wiggins is the one that he truly sees as like his apprentice, so to speak. Just like Michael Jordan once saw Kobe Bryant years ago. Could it be happening? Could the next great player in the NBA be Andrew Wiggins? Or am I just spouting off into craziness? Maybe it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, when the blessing of one of the greatest of all time is given to one of your star players, that truly is a wonderful thing indeed. We'll be back next week to talk about 3 games and then off into the All-Star break, which will soon be a regular place for Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins, and maybe Zach as well, for many, many years to come.